This is ASS Breaking News.
Allah Akbar! Allah Akbar!
Good evening. I'm ASS News correspondent Brock Jurgensen, coming to you live from my comfy studio in Lahore, Pakistan. I'm joined today by a random pedestrian, a random Samaritan by the name of Branson Taylor. Branson, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We're so glad to have you because, we don't get a whole lot of these interviews because there are a lot of people who are just very shy in talking to the media, let alone someone who is currently hunkered down in a compound in Pakistan. So thank you so much for sitting down with us. Of course, we wanted to ask you because you just actually had this week your second COVID shot. First of all, what vaccine did you get?
Oh, I got the Medina vaccine.
You mean Moderna?
No. This one it's called Medina. See, I'm my dad WhatsApped me and he let me know that this is the real vaccine. So I went and I got the Medina vaccine. He said, "Be careful of the Moderna vaccine. Make sure you're getting the Medina vaccine."
So, okay, that's a new one. Haven't heard that one before. So how are you feeling? How many shots were you supposed to take? I understand there are only 2 shots. Is that right?
No, not with the Medina one. They give you 72 shots, every shot for a virgin up in heaven, but I only got 69 right now. So,
well, that's very nice. I mean, you only got three left, and that's good to hear. So, how are you feeling now?
Inshallah, it will be good. Inshallah, it would be very good, very very good. Inshallah. I went and I had.
Sir, we happened to lose you. Where did you go? What happened?
No, I'm right here. It's your Pakistani connection.
I mean, yes, the internet is pretty bad here, and we happen to have brownouts every now and then. Let alone the neighbors always cutting off my power from time to time. But let's see if we could get that going. Okay, hold on. Give us 1 sec. Oh, there you are. Well, alaikum assalam. Branson, so what? I'm curious. Weren't you just wearing something else just a moment ago?
No, this is what I always wear. After I take the Medina vaccine, I'm going to be true to my people. I had Betsy and I feel good. Alhamdulillah.
Okay. Well, let's. I mean, first of all, how long did you wait to get your first vaccine?
6 شهور. How you say it in English? 6 months.
Wow, that's actually quite a long wait compared to most people. I mean, are you feeling any side effects right now?
لا ماشي هلا أنا الحمد لله كل شيء تمام. You know the secret, okay. They put my Zamzam in the vaccine.
I'm sorry, what was that? Zamzam?
My Zamzam.
Sir, we lost you again. Oh, damn, it's my internet again. If you can reconnect, that would be great. Just give me anything. We'll just try to work this out with our producer.
Inshallah, ya Rab. MashaAllah. Allahu Akbar.
Oh, there we go.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahu
Akbar. Sir, what is that on your head?
هذا كفاية يا حبيبي. أنتوا أمريكي خرا. تعرف شو يعني خرا؟
Sir, it seems like the vaccine is turning. Is this a side effect? This seems like a very odd side effect I haven't seen before. Are you sure that's not part of the vaccine? The vaccine did this?
لا أنا تاخذت المدينة vaccine اسمه مدينة الحمد لله من الله.
Okay, well, we missed you one more time. Oh, son of a bitch. Hopefully we get him back.
MashaAllah. Allahu Akbar.
Thank you so much, Mr. Taylor. Thank you so much again for joining us. Really appreciate having you on.
Bismillah. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Got the vaccine, you got the vaccine, they got the vaccine, we got the vaccine. We can get back to normal, let me inform you.
Let's all get the vaccine. Habibis, welcome back to another episode of Habibi Power Hour.
And yes, I think a lot of people have egg on their face. This was an idea. It was first put forward by Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State, Donald Trump. And look, some things may be true even if Donald Trump said them.
Pretty much everybody agreed that segregation was the worst thing this country ever did.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
What's going on, Habibis? I'm Siraj Hashmi.
I'm Mujahed Kobbe.
And welcome to another episode of Habibi Power Hour. Jay, I nearly lost it there.
I know you almost went overboard with it. Well, I went overboard with it. I'm surprised you didn't laugh.
It was when you said Allahu Akbar, when you came in with the backpack at the end that I almost guffawed.
Almost guffawed. I mean, if we're not canceled yet, I don't know what's going to do it.
Yeah. So Habibis, welcome. Happy Pride Month to all the Habibis out there.
Daddy
and Mommy Milky. Yes, thank you so much for joining us this evening. A lot of news happening today. I almost don't know where to start because we have been busy. On Monday, on Memorial Day, Jay and I did a little collaboration with the Minions, Comfortably Smug and Josh Holmes and Michael Duncan on the Ruthless podcast. And we did their King of the Hill segment. And it was me and my champion, Jennifer Rubin, the queen of the list.
Which is pretty much a cheat, but yes, you're champion.
I mean, yes. But I mean, Jay, I would not be true to myself if I didn't go with Jay Rubin, 69.
That's true.
So,
nice.
Very nice. And so, Jay, you went with?
I went with Bitch Tits. I'm pretty sure everybody knows who I call Bitch Tits.
Yes. I love how they edited that part out. You said it like a bunch of times, and they only let you get away with it once.
I said it so many times. I think every time I mentioned Tom Nichols, I mentioned Bitch Tits. Tom Bitch Tits Nichols, Bitch Tits tweeted this.
Yeah. And so what we did for the Habibis who are tuning in or watching this, listening to this, essentially
100%.
Jay and I tasked the listeners, Ben Morrissey and Spencer Sachs, with coming up with the takes that we would be champions of our King of the Hill. Jay had Ben, I had Spencer. Whoever won would get some free merch, and whoever lost would get fired. So Jay lost, which means Ben lost, which therefore Ben's fired. So nice working with you, Ben.
We're announcing today as well. We're sacking Sachs too.
We're also sacking Sachs too. So yes, so both of them are gone. Thank you so much for your service. And no, I'm just kidding. They're both getting some merch. So they both did a great job. So Jay, a lot of the things have happened just today alone. It's actually almost, I feel like Memorial Day itself that weekend was somewhat quiet. And then just in the last 2 days, everything went to shit. And we actually want to start before we start with domestic news. Let's start with some a little international news coming out of Israel. Now, interestingly enough, Benjamin Netanyahu, well, it's not official yet. It's looking like he might be looking at the end of his 12-year run as the prime minister of Israel, as his rivals agreed to form a coalition government that would dislodge the country's longest-serving leader. It's a major political shakeup as the nation seeks to protect the fragile truce with the Palestinian militant group Hamas. This is coming from the Wall Street Journal. Now, if the government is sworn in within the next 2 weeks, Netanyahu would cede power to the most diverse coalition in Israel's history, including an independent Arab party for the first time. Now, I apologize for the pronunciation of names. Despite having a foreign-sounding name myself, I am just like Jay, except the opposite. So Jay is terrible at pronouncing names in the U.S. I am terrible at pronouncing names outside the U.S., so I apologize in advance. So Yair Lapid, who leads the centrist Yesh Atid party, and Naftali Bennett, who heads the right-wing Yamina party, will team up with 6 other parties, including one of Israel's Arab parties, Ram, according to a statement from Lapid. Now, the parliament by law has about 12 days to swear in the government after Mr. Lapid notifies the president. Of course, Netanyahu can still try to undo the coalition deal in this period by convincing enough right-wing lawmakers to vote against the new government, which could force a new election. Now, Jay, there was that 11-day war with Hamas in May. That actually helped Netanyahu. But as soon as they got to a truce, his rivals basically went to negotiating on how to get past this stalemate in the government, where there's been 4 elections since 2019, and no party really has taken a majority, and they haven't been able to form a coalition government. So is this the end for Bibi right here? Is he done?
I have no idea, but I do know from a really good source that this should scare Trump. Absolutely. Netanyahu getting the boot just means that Trump, it's just counting the days now. It's just counting the days. Whatever's happening in Israel means it's going to happen here. Bibi getting kicked out means that's it. Trump can be arrested and we can throw him in jail. It's fascinating how that works.
It is fascinating how that works, because we actually have our queen herself, Jennifer Rubin, tweeting out as this whole coalition thing was forming, and before anything really became official, Jennifer Rubin tweets, "If Bibi leaves office and prosecution results in conviction, might be a wake-up call at Mar-a-Lago." Is that your source? Is that who you thought was going to be the
queen? The Queen Rubin. She's never wrong. Rubin. Like her takes are just genius. Just genius. Seth Abrams level, like fucking genius. How the fuck are these people writers or like opinion writers for as long as they had their careers? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand how this was possible. They made probably a sizable salary and income being completely fucking stupid and horrible. Yeah,
Jay, it really, for us, it gives us no confidence whatsoever in just our own abilities, because despite the fact that you and I might not be like politically savvy in every way, shape, or form, I think you and I are at least somewhat intelligent enough to like at least see the bigger picture, which means we're both going to be broke for the rest of our lives.
Absolutely. It's
essentially 100% true.
It's the way the world works. But as long as we're in our warm embrace for each other, and hopefully that will be soon, and especially for Pride Month, I think that's what real richness and wealth comes from.
Yeah.
Being gay with your bro.
Got to be gay with your bro. Yeah, this is what Pride Month's all about. Being, it's all about sword fights and cuddling with your bro. And if you know what I'm talking about, sword fights.
We can all. Yeah, you will.
You know what I'm talking about.
Anyway, we're on TikTok now.
We're both we're both CCP spies, basically, essentially 100%. Every time I say basically, I got to go to essentially. So
100%.
Okay. I think I saw a comment earlier from Mr. Kenzo. He says BB is done. They already invoked the rule to start the vote of no confidence, and the ministry deal is signed. So looks like BB is going to be part of the hashtag resistance. So BB Netanyahu, welcome to the resistance. Now moving over to domestic matters, the biggest bombshell that happened today is this FOIA release of, and I wouldn't say just today, I would say within the last 2 days. Now, BuzzFeed News, they actually obtained thousands of pages, over, I'd say about 3,200 pages of emails from the first 6 months of 2020, I want to say, showing Dr. Anthony Fauci basically working behind the scenes, fielding questions from reporters, scientists, experts, random strangers. But the biggest there are a number of different takeaways from it. And of course, when you go through a bunch of emails, it takes some time to really sort of understand and connect the dots. But there were some immediate takeaways from this. First of which, and this is from the Washington Examiner, my former employer, Jerry Dunleavy, who is a Habibi by default. He wrote an article titled Fauci worked behind the scenes.
Only Allah can help them save their souls.
He writes a headline an article titled Fauci worked behind the scenes to cast doubt on Wuhan lab leak hypothesis, email shows. He goes, Dr. Anthony Fauci quietly worked behind the scenes to help cast doubt on the Wuhan lab leak possibility in favor of the natural origins hypothesis during the early months of the COVID-19 pandemic, newly released email show. I'm not going to get into the whole thing. I'm just going to quickly breeze through this one. And then there is a good article from Town Hall that highlights some of the other bombshells, and I'll get to that in just a moment. But the article continues. Fauci, the head of the National Institutes of Health's National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, appeared to provide guidance to scientists who push back against the lab leak hypothesis. And he shared articles with reporters and other health officials that critique the possibility that COVID-19 may have escaped from a Chinese government lab in Wuhan. Now, the communications by President Joe Biden's chief medical advisor, was led NIAID since 1984, were part of the 3,200 pages of emails obtained by BuzzFeed through FOIA. Now, one particular part, the first article shared by Fauci is that he appeared to have given some sort of input on, it was a piece published in Nature on March 17, 2020 by Christian Anderson, a microbiologist at Scripps Research, as well as a host of other epidemiologists and researchers. The piece argued in favor of COVID-19's origin being a zoonotic event and would widely be cited to dismiss the lab leak hypothesis in the early months of the pandemic. Now, if you watched our show last week, we talked about it a bit more in detail and why the actual lab leak hypothesis has gained traction. And this is before, obviously, the emails have dropped. Now, if you go over to townhall.com, they actually have some interesting takeaways from it. First of which was that scientists told Fauci that COVID-19 might be engineered, but he ended up ignoring them. Now, let me just pull this up just so I'm not getting anything wrong. There was I want to say that, and with respect to that particular author, Christian Anderson, who's an NIH scientist, she told Fauci that the Wuhan coronavirus looked, quote unquote, potentially engineered. In other words, it was manipulated in a lab through gain of function research. I realize I'm really blurry right now that I tuned into this. I know I don't want to make your eyes glaze over from all the details, but I feel like it's somewhat important to at least tell you some of the big takeaways here. Another big one is that Fauci knew masks didn't work, and told people not to wear them. This is in February of last year. Now, Jay, the only mask I think that works is your Eat More Ass mask. I think that is the most effective mask we have to date.
I mean, all this time, no COVID, and the reason why is because I wear this everywhere I go. It was the perfect mask. Even though it didn't work for shit, as we find out now that these don't actually do shit for anybody, but it was a really good thing to wear. I mean, these revelations about Fauci it's unsurprising to a lot of people who knew that Fauci was a fucking snake anyways. So everyone who was like in the beginning, of course, I was one person's like, give him a chance, all this kind of stuff. But as we were getting more and more deeper and deeper into the into the pandemic, it's just that the guy was such a fucking snake. He flip-flopped on so many different issues. He never really came out and said and gave actual real advice. And when the vaccines were coming out, he was still casting a lot of doubt on the vaccine itself, trying to keep everyone in masks, even though he's saying without the vaccine, it wasn't even working. So the guy is a fucking snake. And one of the main ones that is really disgusting too is how Fauci would come at DeSantis and do nothing with Kioma but give him praise, saying that New York was the idol situation. Everyone should be like New York, when New York is like probably the worst fucking state, or at least in the top 2 out of the whole fucking country. So you just know that the guy is a fucking snake. He's a bureaucrat. He's out for himself. He wants to sell his books now. And the sickest thing that you're seeing right now is all of these journalists getting on their knees, running up to suck his dick and try to throw damage control over these email leaks. Who the fuck are these people supposed to be? Are they supposed to be comms for Fauci and the Biden administration? No, they're not the ones who are supposed to come out and say and give defense to bureaucrats and politicians when they're coming out showcasing who they really fucking are. But not our media. Our media time and time again will come out and protect Biden, come out and protect fucking Fauci. Who gives a fucking fuck about Fauci? Like, why are you protecting him when he came out and fooled you and caused this huge economic downturn that we were seeing throughout this whole fucking pandemic? It makes no sense to me. I am on the side of Ron Paul. I want Rand Paul, whatever the fuck his name is, and I want Fauci back in that seat and thrown in fucking jail. That's what I want.
So there was one particular bit from CNN. I don't know if you could see that very well. This is how they reported on the Fauci email dump. It says thousands of emails from and to Dr. Fauci reveal the weight that came with his role as a rare source of frank honesty within the Trump administration's COVID-19 task force. Just look at, there was quite a ratio. Of course, I listed them, but look at that ratio right there. 4,600 replies.
It is Pride Month, so you can see that CNN was trying to get in their male on male dick sucking for Pride Month. So that was that tweet right there.
You got to do it, and not to mention, I feel like, and there's actually a really good bit. I forgot to download this. I'm going to get this right now, but it is basically, as you said, the massive amounts of dick sucking happening for Fauci by the media, and it just happen. It seems to happen time and time again, where people who should speak truth to power, let alone, I mean, like, it's not like Fauci isn't someone who's in a position of power. He very much is. He is a scientist who dictates public health and public policy, and every single time you get Fauci on, a news media network, you have someone like MSNBC, you have MSNBC's Nicole Wallace get on camera, have Fauci basically on there to just basically defend himself. They're helping him out and just like they're like spoon feeding him defenses. at this juncture.
So Fauci,
And
as the hero of America, what do you think of these emails? That's how they started off.
Yeah.
Like it's sick. It's so sick.
it's like they're trying to avoid a Hillary 2.0 because because of all the way her emails were portrayed in the media showed obviously that she felt that she was not beholden to the laws of the land. And I actually have the clip right now of Nicole Wallace with Fauci. We're just going to watch a little snippet of it.
And just on this point of your public profile, I read through your emails that were released, and I just want to read one of them. There were a lot of inquiries about your public profile. I mean, this very conversation was much harder to have under the ex-president. And this was your response to one about whether or not you'd have a press conference. You wrote, "Yikes, that would make 4 days in a row without a press conference for me, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and tomorrow." I wonder if you feel like you're still making up some of that lost ground from many months under the last administration of not just no information, but disinformation being out there. Do you still see some hardness among his supporters around the vaccine or around some of these messages you're sharing with us today?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that there are people out there who, for one reason or other, resent me for what I did in the last administration, which was not anything that was anti-Trump at all. It was just trying to get the right information, to try and get the right data. And what they didn't seem to understand, I guess that's understandable that they didn't understand it, is that science is a dynamic process. So something that you know in January, you make a recommendation or a comment about it. But as you get more and more information, the information leads you to change, because that's what science is. It's a self-correcting process. So when you hear someone say something at one point, and then 2 or 3 months later, if you stick with what you said at the original time when you had 1/5 the amount of data that you have now, I think that would be inappropriate. It's appropriate, although sometimes it's difficult for people to understand, how as you learn more and more, you've got to continue to evolve with the data. And that's what I was trying to do, is to always tell the truth on the basis of what the data is. And it was never deliberately something against the president. In fact, you spoke about my emails. You look at my emails, I never in the email said anything derogatory about President Trump.
Well, the true mark of someone is if they look good, even when their personal emails come out. So you passed the test that very few of us would pass. Dr. Anthony Fauci, thank you for spending some time with us today talking about all of it. We're always grateful to get.
God fucking damn it.
I couldn't really understand her questions because she was too busy gagging on that dick.
Jay, it's like Mickey Mouse gargling balls. Jay, like, what the fuck is that last statement? The true mark of someone is if they look good even when their personal emails come out. So you pass the test very few of us would pass. Come the fuck on, Nicole Wallace. What the fuck is that?
It's so stupid.
I get the idea.
Taken out.
Look, I was willing to give Anthony Fauci the benefit of the doubt that he evolved his views as more information came out, but he was basically in on it from the beginning. I don't know why. I haven't seen enough people say this word, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. Jay, you ready for me to say it?
Let me hear it.
It's a fucking cover-up.
Thank you very much.
Fauci knew where this money was going to, the NIH funding, to the Wuhan lab. He said, oh, you know, they may not have used it. They told me they weren't using any of that money for gain-of-function research. And then his own scientists say, this looks actually engineered, biologically engineered. We might want to keep an eye on this. And then he turns around to the public and says, this is completely out of nature. Could have come out of a wet market. Could have come out of It came from a bat. Now, there is actually some truth. There is some truth to the actual natural origin of the virus. But if you watched our previous episode where we actually talk about the lab leak theory in more detail, the natural origin was from 2012 when a bunch of miners, like people working in a mine, not, people under the age of 18, were actually, they contracted the bad coronavirus. Crypto? What?
Well, yeah, because miners are crypto. Like, I was thinking about crypto.
Oh, you're thinking about crypto miners? Oh my god, you're such a nerd.
Yeah. I am.
Like, who the fuck's out there mining for coal? Like, the only miners I know, it's fucking mining Bitcoin.
Bitcoin and Ether.
Yeah. So, I think there's a 96% identical. I think the virus that was obtained from, I believe the virus that was obtained from that particular cave, that mine, was 96% identical to the virus that emerged, hypothetically speaking, from the Wuhan Institute of Virology. And you know which institute took that vaccine? Not the vaccine, took that virus in to study? The fucking Wuhan Institute of Virology, which the U.S. government was backing with our taxpayer dollars, 100%. So, that being said, Fauci knows a bunch of shit. He was duplicitous on the AIDS epidemic too. People like to talk about how, oh, Anthony Fauci, he's my hero. Like, no, he's a fucking politician who masquerades as a scientist and gives bullshit advice to the American public and has everyone gripped in fear. And I should state for the record, next time someone tells me to put on a mask, I'm showing them that fucking email from Fauci saying, you know what, masks don't actually work. It's true. They don't work.
It is. You don't even have to show your vaccine passport anymore either. They didn't work. But the vaccines do work. And that's the funny thing about this is, like he was saying, with new information, we start saying some other stuff. The vaccines came out, people were getting vaccinated, and he's still saying you have to wear a mask. He's still telling people that no, you shouldn't embrace each other. And he's still telling people don't be in a room with each other while he's emailing other people being like, these stupid fucks. Masks don't work. And then you have the stupid Nicole. Oh, thank you for bullying me.
So Jay, this is all about control. It's clearly about control. People do not want to admit that the government specifically was looking to tell us that, that, and I'm not even talking about the Trump government. I'm talking about like the people want to talk about the deep state. This is the bureaucracy of Washington, in which people within Washington, D.C. specifically try to grip us with fear, get us to hunker down into our homes, avoid contact with anyone, not go out, not go to our places of employment, not go to school, not go out to eat, not go grocery shopping, just immense fear. And what did Stalin say? It's like, there was a quote that Stalin had, like, if you want to get the people to do anything, I think I'm paraphrasing here, you do it through fear. Let me get the actual quote.
I think that was that Stalin, or was that the Italian guy Mussolini?
Mussolini?
I think it was Mussolini.
Maybe it's, I don't know. I'm sure one of the Habibis will chime in here with it. And anyways, I gotta highlight this. I don't know. Did I highlight this shit post last week? My shit post.
Which one?
This one. Did I bring that up last week? If not, I'm bringing it up again. I don't give a shit.
Do it.
Okay.
Do it. It's
I tweeted this back. Again. I tweeted this back February 27, 2020. Because of course I was reacting to obviously the worst stock market drop. And if you have recalled, the economy was Trump's biggest blue chip. That was his strongest asset as president. You take that away, what do you have? Well, you just have someone who rage tweets.
Right.
And so I tweeted, you a simp, the coronavirus originated out of nowhere. Me, a galaxy brain genius. The Chinese invented coronavirus and created a pandemic to cause an economic recession to hurt Trump's chances of re-election and get a president with a weaker stance towards China. That is looking more and more right by the day.
It's like a message out of my dad's WhatsApp.
So, yeah.
And it is. And another thing that was really funny is how these people are talking about, be wary of racism and all that kind of stuff. And they're like, yeah, it came from Chinese people eating bat soup. And it's like, that's a little bit worse than saying there was a leak
actually
from the
way
lab.
more racist.
That was an accident.
Yeah. It's like the people dismissed that there were actual Wuhan lab scientists who got sick in the fall of 2019 before the coronavirus spread to the rest of the city of Wuhan. And then it became racist to even use the term Wuhan or Chinese coronavirus because that apparently drove up anti-Asian sentiment. And in fact, I think there was it the Washington Post that tweeted out something along the lines of how, like, just trying to discover what the origin is of the coronavirus is going to drive up anti-Asian discrimination. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, do these people care about truth?
Nope.
They don't care about the truth.
No, they're paid by China. They are able to be propagandists for China, and we just allow this shit to happen with our companies, with our media, with our entertainment industry. There needs to be serious consequences for anyone who does dealings with the government of China. I really seriously believe it. It's not about capitalism. It's not about, free market. It's not about any of that kind of shit. It's the fact that these people are here to destroy the United States and the free world, and we are just allowing them to do it and giving them our money and bending over and like, Z, fuck me up the ass, please. And then you have Nicole go, yes, please.
No lube, no Vaseline.
No lube. It's so fucking stupid. It really is. It's mind-boggling to me. It's just so fucking insane.
Real quick, shout out to Greg Price over the Daily Caller for getting this joint. He highlights this stealth edit that was made this was the original headline from the Washington Post 15 months ago. It says, Tom Cotton keeps repeating a coronavirus conspiracy theory that was already debunked. Get ready for the chase. That was the shot. Get ready for the chaser. Tom Cotton keeps repeating a coronavirus fringe theory that scientists have disputed. Get the fuck out of here, WAPO. Go fuck yourself.
And no apology. No one coming out and saying this shouldn't have happened. This was not really based in science, because nobody debunked this. 0 people debunked this fucking theory.
They just said the word debunked. They said the word debunked, and they hoped that was what would stick.
Right. And now they have complete egg on their face. And the media does this on purpose because they're not held accountable. There is nobody out there holding these pieces of garbage accountable for the shit they do like this. And it's happened time and time again. It's 100% complete essential garbage. And honestly, the more people who are up in arms against the mainstream media, the better. I'm not saying everybody in the mainstream media and every journalist who works in it are horrible, but the fact that you work there just, makes me want to slap you a little bit harder.
Now, apparently there was an update there was actually a correction made. I'm pulling that up. Just give me one moment while my computer runs at 0.69 megabytes per second.
Nice.
Let's pull this up real quick. Why am I all fuzzy still? God damn it. Is this it? Here we go. All right, let me zoom in here. Correction. Hopefully you can read that just all right. It said earlier versions of the story and its headline inaccurately characterized comments by Senator Tom Cotton regarding the origins of the coronavirus. The term debunked and the Post's use of conspiracy theory have been removed because then as now, there was no determination about the origins of the virus. Are you fucking kidding me? We literally just said this. Now. They literally just used the word debunked to say it was debunked because it sounded too crazy for them. But you know what? and I heard this. I saw this great. I'm in a group chat with Shu, who we had on the show a few weeks ago, and she said, and I don't know who said this quote. I'm gonna just attribute it to Shu, just because she said, "What's the difference between the truth and the conspiracy theory?"
What is it?
6 months. 6 months. That is it. Like it's if people would fucking wait to get to like actually do their due diligence, do the reporting. Look, the way BuzzFeed characterized the story is garbage, but I credit them at least getting the fucking emails, because look at this fucking headline, and just give me a moment while I pull this up.
Well, what I like with the last one,
I'm really on one
even
tonight.
with the correction. No, you are, and it's great. And the correction you brought up in the article still itself, it calls it a fringe theory. It still calls it a fringe theory, and that's not what it was. It's one of the most prevalent theories out there right now, and the origin of it.
Yeah. So BuzzFeed News, this is the headline. Anthony Fauci's emails reveal the pressure that fell on one man, which is, I don't know how the fuck you're going to paint it like that. It is, they're literally trying to make this man still a hero, despite the fact that all of his, the emails look like he was fucking in on it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely did. And and it looked like that. It looked like that because that's what he wanted. I'm going to give you a tweet.
You going to send me something? How are you going to send this to me?
You on Discord.
Private chat? Discord,
private
which
chat.
I have shut down because it probably eats up too much.
Oh, did you really?
Up too much. No, I just like my RAM. My memory is just garbage. So
I'm putting it in private chat here.
I'm getting. No, just send it to me.
Here.
All right, you already sent it. All right.
Yeah, I already sent it on here.
You lib.
But it was Jim Secuno. Jim Secuno? Secuno. Secudo.
I'm not going to correct you. No, hold on. No, hold on. Keep saying, what was that again? Say it one more time.
Seshudo. Jim Seshudo.
Jim Shudo.
Jim Shudo. Oh. I'm trying to pronounce both T's at the same time. Shudo. But it's Shudo. Jim Shudo. There you go. But he was talking about, and you can see my quote tweet on it, and he was talking about how, he only appeared on TV to answer questions on the pandemic and shit. And he's so full of shit. Absolutely full of shit. He went on there to give himself more of a status within the media and within DC, and now he's going to sell his book. And the only people buying his book are the people who bought his shit, like Nicole. I can't. I'm going to go buy your book. Well, whatever the fuck her name is.
So how did you pronounce that name again?
Jim Shudo.
No,
Shusido. I said Shusido because it's Sciutto, but it's Jim Dick-Face piece of garbage.
I thought you did Secudo.
Jim Secuno.
Jim Secudo.
Jim Secudo. That's it.
So, yes, that is the current state of play. We'll see what happens with Fauci. Now, look, the great thing about it is that we are now on the other side of all this shit, and most of us know not to trust this motherfucker. There are still going to be, the resistance libs on Twitter who are like, I got my Fauci ouchie, and
I got my Fauci ouchie.
Yeah, like the people who are clearly Fauci simps, who will continue to take his advice. They'll stay wearing a mask, continue to be anti-science because masks don't work, and that's just kind of how it is right now. But I should point out that every single argument that they brought up to basically justify everything about the pandemic has gone to shit. And we cannot let them get away with it. They're going to continue to lie and say what actually happened and just retcon everything until we just get tired and give up. So don't let them forget that shit. In fact, I was very close, very, very close, Jay. I can't tell you how close I was to starting a war in my family group chat by simply sending a screenshot of that Fauci email to my very incredibly liberal family, telling them masks don't work. It would have been World War III.
Your dad would have came back. He's like, "Are you the doctor or me?"
No. Bubba would have my back. Bubba would have my back for the most part. He would be very diplomatic. It's my mom who would basically try to strangle me. So just,
I can't wait for your mom everyone's aware. To meet.
Oh man, I really hope your mom red pills my mom. We've been trying so hard. We've been trying so hard.
My mom's not fully red pilled. I gave her like a light red pill. That's what happened.
Yeah, well, we'll get to it. Carl's asking you to send the screenshot, coward. I didn't send it. I almost did. I was very close to doing it. So
do it, you coward. Do it, Habibi.
Maybe, Jay, when we all get together, we can do it together.
We're having dinner and stuff, and out of nowhere, she's saying, like, and this is what Siraj looked like when he was 6 years old. You know, masks don't work.
Yeah, everything Dr. Anthony Fauci said was a lie.
Right? Just we'll do it for the TikTok.
Do it for the TikTok, for the content. Exactly, guys. All right. So I feel like we have gone very heavily into that story for quite a bit. We have a few more stories we want to cover. And then we're going to obviously this is going to be our first Patreon shout out that we've done in like 3 months. So apologies. That will be a little bit longer because we've simply just got way too either lazy or busy. I don't know what the answer is. I woke up at 2 p.m. way too many times. But Jay, you know, what's crazy is, and I saw this, I don't know if it was Ram, one of the Habibis in the chat, who said this, or at least he pointed this out, because there's a lot of things happening with Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, I'm not talking about her tweet that she posted beginning of Memorial Day weekend. This is what she said. She said, "Enjoy the long weekend," which, Jay, I don't know how you better honor the troops by posting a photo of yourself and saying enjoy the long weekend. And I mean, look, to her credit, in her defense, okay, she on Memorial Day, she did post a Memorial Day tribute. Now, was it too little, too late? I'll leave that for other people to decide. She has plenty of critics, and I'm not here to defend her, okay? But she did tweet out, right. "We honor those members of our military who sacrificed their lives in order to defend our freedoms. We owe these heroes and their loved ones everything, not just on Memorial Day, every day," okay? Now, this is where we get hung up on. I am tired of people coming in and losing their shit for people who don't give a fuck about them. And I reference a particular person online who went after one of our own, and I'm talking about Gabriel Mallour. Now, I don't know what the fuck is up with this guy. He's an attorney from Oklahoma. He's gay, and apparently I thought he was conservative, but he really just simps for Kamala Harris. Now, after this whole, between this whole flap with what's it called? With both, God damn it, with that whole post saying enjoy the long weekend, Gabriel Mallour tweets out, it isn't even Memorial Day yet. You don't think she has a scheduled tweet before Monday? And then it devolved there. I don't know how many tweets he had about it, but it was along the lines of just making him look at this shit. Let me pull this up. He went after our buddy Anand, who is one of the nicest people
that you would
in
find
DC.
on Twitter. In DC.
Yeah. And for some reason, he takes issue with Anand just disagreeing with him, calling him and referencing him an absolute brainworm 2 online moron about not saying he's not respecting that Kamala Harris is not respecting the country enough. At this point, I didn't even put him on the list then. He needed it more than any other person. And he ended up making the list just because the Habibis voted him in. But Jay, I just can't understand why anybody would trash your own reputation like that for like people do this all the time. It's another thing when people are like fighting within their own like circles and doing it for someone who literally wants them to never have any representation or would prefer they never get power. Because I assume Gabriel is a Republican. Right now I think he's more of a right now I think he's like a Jennifer Rubin type. Am I wrong?
Yes, I think you're wrong. He's not that out there in a lot of those things. This take he was having is understandable, but the way he went at it with Anand was really over the top and being really out there. Because he was just saying like, you know what, it doesn't matter. It's a scheduled tweet to enjoy the long weekend and all that kind of stuff. But to reverse it, and what a lot of people were saying as well, and especially what Anand was saying is like, well, we dipshits, like he was calling them, don't represent the country. She represents the country. So to tweet something like that with only her face and everything, that would have gotten demonized, especially by Gabriel himself. If Trump ever did something like that, Trump would do anything on a Memorial Day type thing or veterans or whatever, and people will dissect it and just attack it all the fucking time. And especially like Gabriel types would do it as well. So it's really interesting to see their hypocrisy on it when they're supposed to be Republican right-leaning people, but they come out in defense of people like Kamala Harris. So he's more like a bitch tit Tom Nichols than he is like a Jim Rubin, to be honest.
It reminds me of that time Mike Huckabee tweeted out some memorial, like some like somber tweet, but instead of like tweeting anything in relation, like he posted it 4 photos of himself. I'm trying to find this up, and it is one of the things that really makes you scratch your head out. If someone knows this tweet, please tell me which thing he's referencing, because I really cannot put my finger on it right now. It's driving me insane. But it is one of those things you're like, did Mike Huckabee really send that fucking tweet? And like he got clowned for his stuff.
So funny watching it
because it just had nothing to do with what he was tweeting about.
Right.
But anyways, Kamala Harris, that was a pretty big PR nightmare for her. And I would say it probably looked even worse on Gabriel Malor somehow by going after our buddy Anand, which you definitely don't need to do. But in light of all this,
hopefully I get
this
to meet
week,
him.
Huh?
Hopefully I get to meet him.
No, you won't. I'm gonna lock you up in the dungeon when you come here. But Biden tapped Kamala Harris to lead the administration's voting rights efforts. Now, this is coming from Reuters. On Tuesday, he announced that Harris will lead the administration's efforts on voting rights as Republican state lawmakers across the country attempt to enact voting restrictions. The efforts by Republican-led state legislatures to pass restrictive laws, which the White House and civil rights groups say make it harder for Americans to vote, follow former President Donald Trump's false claims that he lost the 2020 election because of widespread election fraud. Biden said voting rights in the United States are, quote unquote, under assault, with an intensity he has never seen before, saying, quote, "It's simply un-American." And then going on to talk about, obviously, the Tulsa race massacre, which we're going to get into in a little bit. But then he goes on to say, quote, "I'm asking Vice President Harris to help these efforts, to lead them among her many other responsibilities. With her leadership and your support, we're going to overcome. Again, it's going to take a hell of a lot of work," end quote. Now, Jay, I'm sure this is going to go over great, considering that on the same day, CNN reports that Vice President Harris's team is trying to distance her from the fraught situation at the border, which this week marks 69 days since President Biden tapped her to lead basically or oversee the border crisis, which
that's essentially nice.
Now for that, just highlighting that CNN story. I mean, her staff has basically tried to make one thing clear, that she does not manage the southern border. Now I'm going back to a particular point that I think Ron made in the Discord server, or someone made. I want to say it's Ron. Apologies if I'm getting this wrong. But it would make sense if Biden's trying to run for re-election in 2024, you would give all the horrific, almost unsolvable tasks to your vice president to make sure that she does not try to run for president in 24 and not basically ask you out of power. Is that a little? Am I getting anywhere close to that?
I don't know. I think the reason why he did it was to try and make her actually do something that's going to make her look like a hero and stuff. But it's really funny how fast she pushed back against the border and saying, "That's not us. We're not doing it." But they're not mentioning it. It's like this elephant in the room between Harris and Biden that they're not even bringing up again. Like, nobody's going to ask her, "So how's the border going?" I mean, no fucking journalist is asking
They
these
tried
questions
to.
about
They tried to ask her how the border's doing.
And then they're like, "Oh, we don't do it." So of course she did such a banger.
No, what they did is like she laughs it off. Remember? Did we have that? We had that clip. We played it a few weeks ago about her just laughing her ass off about the border.
Did she do the Nicole laugh?
Oh man, I think look, the likelihood of Kamala running for president is incredibly high, but I think the likelihood of her actually becoming president before 24 also incredibly high. I mean, shit, we don't even know what the president's saying half the time.
No, I mean, how long has it been right now? We're in June, so it's been 4 months. I have 2 more months to go. I said he's going to die in 6 months. So I got in the pool. I got 2 more months to go. So we'll see how that goes.
That's the death pool, right? God.
Yes.
Jay's literally betting. Jay, this is how you get the FBI on us, man.
Bro,
we're trying to lay low.
Already been watching us.
Yeah,
already been watching us.
Yeah, so there's that. I would say that obviously it's been kind of interesting to see like the inner battles happening within the White House. It's almost like they don't want to cover it because any battle you saw within the Trump White House, it got like front and center coverage. Probably because Trump didn't do a very good job of keeping a lid on shit, but
that's why
he also just has a very adversarial press that really wants to dunk on him at any point in time, and Biden just so happens to have the press on his side, so you don't see that happen nearly as much. So I guess credit to CNN for at least reporting that story, because if they didn't, then would we really know about these sort of this palace intrigue that's happening right now? True. I don't know. So, but yeah, anyways, As we move along, there's another bombshell story that came in the world of sports with the NFL, which I'm sure a lot of the Habibis already quit already, with the exception of all the Chicago Bears fans that basically dominated the Habibi Discord. God damn, they're annoying. The Associated Press reported today that the NFL pledges to halt race norming and reviews black claims. Now, the NFL on Wednesday pledged to halt the use of race norming, which assumed that black players started out with lower cognitive function in the $1 billion settlement of brain injury claims and review past scores for any potential race bias. The practice made it harder for black retirees to show a deficit and qualify for an award. The standards were created in the 1990s in hopes of offering more appropriate treatment to dementia patients, but critics faulted the way they were used to determine payouts in the NFL concussion case. Of course, the NFL concussion controversy that happened, I want to say maybe 7-8 years ago. Now, Wednesday's announcement comes after a pair of black players filed a civil rights lawsuit over the practice. Medical experts raised concerns, and a group of NFL families last month dropped 50,000 petitions at the federal courthouse in Philadelphia, where the lawsuit had been thrown out by the judge overseeing the settlement. Senior U.S. District Judge Anita Brody later took the unusual step of asking for a report on the issue. Black retirees hope it will include a breakdown of the nearly $800 million in payouts so far by race. They fear the data will never come to light. Now, just highlighting one particular part about this, in this binary race norms, when they're used in the testing, they assume that black patients start with worse cognitive function than whites and other non-blacks. That makes it harder for them to show a deficit and qualify for an award. So there are two former Pittsburgh Steelers players, Kevin Henry and Najee Davenport, who first raised it because of their wives. Now, we can get into a discussion about the difference between men. How obviously we men are very complacent about everything, and our significant others, for those of us who are in heterosexual relationships, would just be like, no, there's something wrong with you. You should probably go to the hospital. And we're just like looking at our hand falling off. I'm like, no, it's gonna. I'm just gonna take some Robitussin, some Tylenol. I'll be good in the morning. So Kevin Henry and Najee Davenport, they were denied awards, but would have qualified had they been white, according to their lawsuit. And Brody dismissed it in March, calling it an improper collateral attack on the settlement, and that they have since appealed the ruling. Now, this is actually pretty stunning. I'll just going to read out these statistics real quick before we get into more discussion about it. Now, more than 2,000 NFL retirees have filed dementia claims. 2,000, okay? Fewer than 600 have received awards. That's according to the most recent report. More than half of all NFL retirees are black, according to the lawyers involved in the litigation. The awards so far have averaged $516,000 for the 379 players with early stage dementia and $715,000 for the 207 players with moderate dementia. Now, retirees are also seeking payouts for Alzheimer's disease and a number of other diagnoses. Setting aside the discussion about like the danger of the actual sport, because I play football, I got a number of concussions. Makes sense. Huh? How does this all make sense? I don't know how you make this.
I'm saying now this all makes sense. You having a few concussions.
Oh. Oh, you bitch. So look, this is systemic racism through and through. I don't know how this particular policy, not let alone that it was crafted in the 1990s, not in like the 1960s, not like during the Jim Crow era, like at least 30 years after the Civil Rights Act was passed. This is insane. I mean, I don't know how this lasts at least 30 years for people, for people to have to deal with this. And medical racism is a real thing. There have been studies done about how medical professionals view pain tolerance by race, and more times than not, there are a lot of plenty of medical professionals. I'm not going to say all medical professionals because I obviously, this is not obviously a generalized statement, but there was a higher percentage of medical professionals who believed that Black people had a higher pain tolerance and therefore were not given the same sort of treatment that, say, non-Black or white patients would receive. And that's something that I hope gets addressed in the future. But maybe if you tie in the NFL, something that a lot of Americans care about, maybe we'll finally see this come to the spotlight.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, it's really sick, especially because, like you said, putting aside the fact that this is a very dangerous sport, these people know what they're signing up for. This is the new rule that came in throughout the NFL. You're supposed to receive certain, certain privileges after the fact within being an employee within this industry, and this is 100%.
Essentially,
like you said, systemic, a type of systemic racism, because they are assuming that, and this was like a very old racist science too, like to assume that the brain functions of Black people are different than anyone else. That was very racist in the very like early 1920s, 1918s, but this was done in the 1990s.
Yeah, Clinton years, man.
It was very, very sick. And I think the reason why they did it is because they had that many more Black Americans play the sport in comparison to whites. So they didn't need to. So by putting this rule in place, they're not going to shell out as much money as they would without it. So I think it had more to do with saving green and this racist. I hope they get sued to oblivion, because fuck the NFL, fuck all major sports, let it all burn down to the fucking ground and start over. That's my theory on all this.
As much as I love the sport of football, people remember, you got to remember, this is a business. NFL is not in it for the sport. They're in it for fucking money. You think Roger Goodell gives a shit about any of the things that are happening in his league? No, he doesn't give a fuck.
That's why you have domestic abusers still making six figures and not giving a fuck. They beat the shit out of their wives and kids, and they're still playing the sport.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
I mean, it has never been about the integrity of the sport, and that's unfortunate. No. And I love football, and I truly cannot stand the NFL and its bureaucracy and its bullshit. And this particular story is really disheartening. And like you said, Jay, I hope to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they get
Inshallah ya Rab.
Inshallah ya Rab. So we're going to continue on the discussion on systemic racism, because this goes to our Abrahamic brothers and sisters in the Jewish community. We were talking obviously about Israel.
I'm not wearing pink in honor of Jews and in honor of Faye. I'm not wearing pink.
One of the Habibis, Faye Bibi, hates pink, hates us wearing pink. We did this in solidarity for her, despite the fact that it's Pride Month. So you're welcome, Faye. No, the Washington Free Beacon reported just this past week that Google diversity head said Jews have an insatiable appetite for war, digging up a 2007 blog in which Kamal Bob, who is the Google diversity head, he had these basically reacting to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Now, he's the head, I repeat, Kamal Bob is Google's head of diversity strategy. He said, again, in a 2007 blog post, that Jews have an insatiable appetite for war and an insensitivity to the suffering of others. Now, what's actually been revealed is that within the Google chats, I should say, within the company chats, he issued an apology specifically to Jewish employees of the company. And I shit you not, they go by the name Jugles. Like Google.
Oh my
Jugles. God. They did that. They named that. They named themselves that. So
Faye, talk to your people, please.
Yes.
At Google. Talk to them at Google. I'm sure all of you guys know each other, just like black people, just like Arabs, just like Muslims. Everyone knows everyone.
It's true. I mean,
please talk to them.
I mean, people did tell me to, like, you know, make sure I told. Actually, I shit you not, Jay. When I was in Oklahoma, I shit you not, this is the most racist thing that's ever happened to me. The most Islamophobic thing that's ever happened to me. I was working again. This is great because I was working in the medical field. This is when I was in my doctor phase. I was like 18, 19 years old. There was a terrorist attack. I want to say this was either 2005 or 2006. And so there might have been, I think it was something that happened in Europe. It might have been in Spain, or it might have been in Britain. And there was a nurse anesthetist guy, heavy as fuck. Guy was like he should never have worked in the medical field given how fucking fat he was. And this guy was a straight up redneck. Again, I'm in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Okay. I'm like 18, 19 years old. This guy knew I was Muslim. He knew my dad also practiced at the hospital. And then he like pointed at the TV as they were reporting on a terrorist attack. He's like, "Why don't you tell your people to stop?" I was like, "You seriously think I can tell them to just stop?" You think, "Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, I'll just get my cell phone now." It's like, "Yo, Ahmed, the people around me, they tell me to stop. Can you help me out? Thanks. Okay, assalamu alaikum." And then just hang up. Like that is the most
can't you just
Islamophobic thing that's ever happened to me.
Your friends and tell them to stop? Just assalamu alaikum.
Like, this guy is like, no, this guy was like in his, like, maybe I want to say like in his mid to late 40s, like clearly like was dead serious about me telling the terrorists to stop. It's like I don't know what to say. I don't have their number.
And it didn't
even
work.
if I did, if I called them, that might cause the detonator to go off.
Well, especially because of their cell phones.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So yes. So of course. But this all comes at the same. We're getting this story about Google's diversity head saying that Jews have an insatiable thirst for war. And then you get Vox. You get Vox.com literally tweeting out this article titled "Violent Anti-Semitism Spiked in America During the Israel-Hamas War," and we don't know why. Jay,
and it's like, understand the news. That's what Vox motto is understand the news.
Understand.
Jesus Christ, news. This has to be the worst fucking headline to ever come out of this fucking thing. And even when you read the article, it's not even any better because the article is a little bit more just like this, just like the headline. They go into it, they're like, "We don't know why Jews are being targeted in the forefronts of New York. We have no idea. Why is this happening?
Somebody help us.
We have no idea. What could it be? I don't know. Maybe the fucking politicians you simp for just demonize Israel as a whole and shit. And then all of that goes into Jewish hate. And it's the same people. It's funny because it's the same people who are like, "Oh, if you call it the Chinese virus, it's going to raise Asian fucking what's it called? Hate." But calling Israel bloodthirsty apartheid state is not going to do shit. It's not going to do anything. These people are so full of fucking shit and hypocrites. It's just insane. And you see this time and time again, especially from the people like the Parker Mollies or Parker Malloys or whatever the fuck her name is, and this other what's his name? Heat Jer. That motherfucker. He's such a piece of shit because Barry Weiss was talking about Heat Jer. Or
Jer Heat.
What Anong? Can you talk to your people, Anong? But Barry Weiss was talking about how she's been talking to a lot of Jewish friends and stuff like that, and talking about what's happening with them. And then he quote tweets it and saying and then all of the people clapped in the what's it called, in the in the cafe or some shit. It was something fucking stupid like that. And it's sick because he's the same type of person that went and believed like the Smollett cases, all the hoaxes that came out throughout the fucking year. There were stories that he would quote tweet and tweet about and all this kind of stuff, believing it. But when it comes to Jews, these motherfuckers are coming out and saying like, oh, poor Jews. Oh, and it's sick. It's very, very sick. It's really, really disgusting, especially because of the way the Jews have been treated throughout history. And for them to take this issue as lightly as they do just tells you exactly what these fucks are. And they're pieces of garbage.
Let me put it this way. Every person who has been discriminated against gets the benefit of the doubt, except for Jews. Let me tell you what. Let me show you what I mean. You see people, who say, this person called me that, you'll have whether they're black people, Hispanic, Muslim, Asian, they claim to be discriminated against. Everybody believes them at first sight. And anybody who doubts that they have been discriminated against, they'd be like, how dare you? How dare you tell this? How dare you say that they weren't discriminated against? If they say that thing right there is racist or Islamophobic or a xenophobic, they've lived through this. This is their truth. How dare you? I trust their word over anybody else's on what discrimination is and what racism is. Every time something happens with, like you saw the punches being thrown against Jews in New York who had an Israeli flag. They're like, oh, you can't call that anti-Semitic. They're just fighting against state apartheid oppression. They're fighting for Palestinian self-determination. That's not anti-Semitism. That's anti-Zionism. Okay, get it right. And shame on you for thinking that we hate Jews. By the way, where's your gold? Where's your Jew gold? Like, that's the level of fucking just insanity that we're dealing with, is that Jews just do not get the benefit of the doubt when it comes to saying, hey, this is anti-Semitism. It's very much it's very selective outrage, because only when someone on the right is blatantly anti-Semitic, that gets called anti-Semitism. If it's someone on the left who's being anti-Semitic, it's be like, well, actually, they're bringing up some valid points, so we gotta listen to them. Like, right. That's just how fucking that's where we are right now. Is that unless you call it out, basically in a uniform, consistent manner, that shit ain't going away anytime soon.
Right, and a very good example of that is what's his name? Manju, whatever. What's his name? The guy, the CNN correspondent for Congress.
Oh, Manu Raju.
The guy, whatever the fuck his name is. I mean, Anand again.
Anand, can you get Manu to send
seriously. Heat Jeer. You need to put Heat Jeer and what's his name? Manu Raju. Put those two people on the list. You got to sit them down and talk to them, man. Come on. How are you allowing your people to do this? But anyways, the guy will run around and harass every GOPer on any tweet that Trump did. But when Ilhan Omar comes out in support for BDS, when she lied that she wasn't in support for it when she was running, silence. He doesn't go and ask anyone. He doesn't ask Schumer. He doesn't ask Pelosi. He doesn't ask nobody. And then you have AOC tweeting that Israel is an apartheid state. Zero fucking. He goes around and asks people some random shit. He's not asking about. This is some real issues that needs to be asked about. And the reason why he doesn't ask them about it is because he knows that voters are not going to like their answers. Voters don't want to hear that AOC is saying that Israel is an apartheid state, except for people in her district. And the same thing with Ilhan Omar. People don't want that. They don't want these evil fucking pieces of garbage as politicians and to be associated with Dems. So that's why he's fucking silent on it. He doesn't run around like he does when a GOPer says some bullshit and stuff. And that's why you can see the complete bullshit that is DC journalism. It's just complete garbage. All of it is garbage. I can't wait to go there. I'm going to be there in DC, and I'm going to drop a massive shit right on the doorstep of every one of these publications. I don't give a fuck. We're doing it. We're going to go eat Indian food, and that's what's happening.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're going to need to get a lot of laxatives and a lot of Indian food. I'm glad.
Let's do it.
Jay, I also, sometimes I shit like 3 or 4 times a day, so I'll help you in this effort. I'll have plenty.
We got this.
Plenty to go.
We got this. Habibi Bros jihad. the shithad. The Habibi Bros shithaddy.
So our final story of the evening now. This is a little bit more serious, and I was gonna, I specifically stuck with this shirt because I didn't want to treat this like a joke, because it really isn't. And I was gonna wear a tank top just to usher in Pride Month, but I realized that would not have been a good look, especially what we're going to be discussing. And that is, this week marked the centennial of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. Now, I don't know if anybody is fully aware of this. I know, Jay, you and I have spent time in Oklahoma. You spent, I think, more time in Oklahoma than I did. For me, however, in this whole debate about critical race theory and how we talk about how, like, what should be taught in schools and what, shouldn't be taught in schools and what should be debated. Like, this is one of those things where, like, if we were going to teach in schools, this is what we should start with, is at least talking about the Tulsa Race Massacre, because there are a lot of questions that have not been answered. And I feel like the only way that this really came into the under the spotlight, or at least into the forefront of America's consciousness, is through the show Watchmen. Now, I'm going to just play a quick clip just to give you an idea of what the Tulsa Race Massacre was. And then we'll just kind of get it, discuss a little bit about it, and just kind of highlight the importance of it and why it deserves to be discussed in schools. And also, if there was going to be any commission on anything, this deserves a commission, because this is something that should have never, there are tons of, this is like, what, maybe 80 years after slavery was abolished, right? Right, Jay? 1921, 1863, 1864, around that time. This is something that I think is really important. So let me just quickly play a clip.
Justice today. Trust in the law.
the boy then.
Hey, God damn it, OB.
It's gonna be okay, baby, right? You're gonna go attack Lydia and they're gonna get you someplace safe.
Are you coming too?
We're gonna be right behind you. Okay?
We gotta go now.
Hey, get your thumb out your mouth, boy.
OB, come on. We gotta go.
Be strong.
Hey.
Okay, so I'm reading some of the comments. I really should not do that after such a serious clip. God damn it. I'm really going to hell after that. I'm reading Damon's comment, and I'm not going to read it out loud. But here's the thing. Now, look, there's some. I was reading some of the comments. Some people were saying they only learned about this. They never learned about this in school. They only learned about this last year. I, like many of you, only learned about this like within the last year. Specifically, I think around Juneteenth, or around I think it was Dr. Jason Nichols who I first learned about it from, which is crazy because this is something that if you've read up on, the records only show that 36 total people died, 26 black and 10 white, but there have been estimates of anywhere from 150 to 300 people dying as a result of the Tulsa Race Massacre. Now, of course, what you just saw was a clip from the HBO series Watchmen. The movie was directed by Zack Snyder, but not the show. I know I saw Mitch asking, was this directed by Zack Snyder? Not this time. But Jay, what have you learned when you were in school in Oklahoma? What was it that you really took away from it? Was it like one of those things that you kind of assumed everyone knew about?
No. Also because it wasn't taught to that extent, like you were saying, when it was talking about 150 people to 300 people in school. It was taught as somewhere between 30 to 50 people were killed, and it was one of the worst massive killings that happened in Oklahoma, and it was taught that way, but it wasn't taught to the extent of, in my opinion, to the seriousness that it was, and what people are actually finding out it to be, and especially because it's in Oklahoma itself, so they wouldn't. I don't think they would teach it 100%. Essentially,
yeah. Sorry, we got to do it every time.
To the extent of what actually happened, and hopefully we'll find out exactly what happened and how bad it was.
And maybe look, there was a state commission in 2001 that took an examination of the events. They were able to confirm that 39 people, 26 black and 13 white, died based on the contemporary autopsy reports and death certificates, as well as other records. But the commission gave several estimates ranging from 75 to 300 dead. Now, for those who are not aware, this happened in Tulsa in the Greenwood district, otherwise known as Black Wall Street. It's a very affluent area for Black community. And I don't want to get into the entire history of it just because I can't do it justice. But I encourage everyone to at least read up on it. A lot of it stemmed from I believe the a black shoe shiner, Dick Rowland, who was 19 years old. It began on Memorial Day weekend. He was accused of assaulting a 17-year-old white elevator operator by the name of Sarah Page. He was taken into custody. And then after the arrest, rumors spread through the city that Rowland was to be lynched. Upon hearing reports that a mob of hundreds of white men had gathered around the jail where Rowland was being kept, a group of 75 black men, some of whom were armed, arrived at the jail in order to ensure that Rowland would not be lynched. And then basically tensions ensued, shots were fired, and that's when all hell broke loose. And you saw at least from that clip in Watchmen, basically entire ransacking of Black Wall Street in the Greenwood District. So, it's so important, obviously, to learn our history and also make sure that it stays intact in people that you are who are in your circle who are interested in learning about it. You teach them about it. You teach your kids about it. Because like that, apart from like all this, like talk about like what is and what isn't racist, like that is clearly racism in the worst sense. And the fact that there hasn't been anything done to sort of ameliorate what took place is frankly shocking. But we also have to make sure that people don't use such horrendous events to try to make a political point. Like you've seen it over the last 5-6 months about people making comparisons between January 6th and 9/11. And with the centennial of the Tulsa race massacre, we're starting to see the race massacre being used to make a political point. And this comes from our favorite guy, Chris Chiamo.
Is America getting better? The answer is yes, but only when we see past wrongs and work to right them. And so here we are on the 100th anniversary of the Tulsa race massacre, the deadliest attack on Black Americans on U.S. soil, when as many as 300 in the thriving Black Wall Street district were slaughtered by a white mob. That's the story. Any mitigation of that is not the truth. And at the same time that we condemn this as obscene, as a reminder of what is wrong, we see in real time today one of the greatest assaults on democracy underway, once again targeting minorities. The party of Trump intensifying its efforts to strip people of color of their rights to vote. The boldest attempt since the era of Jim Crow. President Biden drew a through line in Tulsa today.
100 years ago, at this hour, on this first day of June, smoke darkened the Tulsa sky. This was not a riot. This was a massacre. I come here to help fill the silence, because in silence, wounds deepen. What happened in Greenwood was an act of hate and domestic terrorism with the through line that exists today still.
A through line of hate. Through line means that just because there's not another Tulsa massacre doesn't mean the efforts are not equally unholy and un-American. Those efforts that we've seen recently.
Again, I let clips run way too long and they get the tag
all the way through.
Okay, so look, I don't know how you can make an argument that what happened to Black Americans in Tulsa is happening exactly today. It is just completely different. It is not even remotely the same. I just don't get it. Jay, why do people constantly make these comparisons?
Because they don't know history. They don't know the truth behind the hate. They don't know the truth about behind the pain and what actually happened during these moments in history. They do the same thing with the Holocaust. They're going to do the same thing with the Tulsa massacre.
Yeah,
They are
I mean,
going
we just
to
saw
pretend.
it with this whole Israel Hamas situation and how people were basically glorifying Hitler and saying, you know what, actually, Israel is worse than Nazi Germany. Like that is like the level of analysis we're getting from Chris Kielma right now. It's just like,
and the level,
and I don't want to make this like us ranting about the media and try to take away from the Tulsa Race Massacre, because it was truly a horrific event in our nation's history, and it needs to be. The reason we are highlighting this is because it deserves to be treated with the utmost sensitivity and respect for the families that it deserves. There are still people alive today that were there who were victims of the Tulsa Race Massacre, whose families were killed. Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
Biden was part of the white mob. Oh my God. Oh my God, Jay. There were people alive today at that event that, not today, but this week, that were at that event that President Biden gave his speech on about the centennial of the Tulsa Race Massacre. And it deserves recognition from our government. And look, I credit the Biden administration for at least acknowledging the centennial of the Tulsa Race Massacre as something that needs to be highlighted and discussed. What we need to do is ensure that it does get, that stories from that horrific event get told, and that we don't use it as a crutch for today's partisan politics. It just can't happen. And it's just so disgusting that we have to talk about the media angle here, because we really shouldn't. Like, nobody should be doing that.
Right. But you have them doing it. And that's what's so sick about it. You have the Chris Kielmas doing it, and you have Joe Biden doing it too.
Well, Joe Biden's the president, for one, and he is naturally a partisan. Right. And so he is going to say things that are in the interest of his own, or best for his own self-interest. And he will make partisan political talking points. Doesn't mean that the media have to fall into that trap too.
Well, they do, because they are propaganda artists for that party, and Chris Kielma is a propagandist. I mean, that's the
that's true. I mean, and Biden, and again, I'm not saying this obviously to defend Biden, because I don't think he should be doing it either, and it's unacceptable. Because the laws that have been passed, these voting rights laws that supposedly are Jim Crow 2.0, which aren't Jim Crow 2.0, if you've even read the bills in Georgia and Florida and the number of these other states, like it is simply not the Tulsa Race Massacre all over again. It's not Jim Crow 2.0 all over again. And this is the manipulation of history that we cannot afford right now. Or
ignorance. We shouldn't. And we shouldn't allow for that to happen. And for Chris Kielma to just repeat and regurgitate what the president was saying, Biden just showcases that he doesn't really give a shit about the truth either, and how ignorant he is about what actually happened. Because, like you were saying, the Tulsa Massacre is such a big and huge, dark spot in our history that needs to be taught, that needs to be shown to people on what happened, so people can better understand some of the race relations and some of the places that people are coming from when they're talking about race relations within the United States. But when you have somebody like Chris Kielma or the president demeaning and making it so small to the point where they're trying to compare it to a Georgia bill that was allowing for more voting booths, it just diminishes exactly what these events were in the history of the United States. It's worse. It's as bad as a white supremacist just saying that only 10 people died in it, and it wasn't as bad as people thought, or that the whole lie is that it was a riot that happened. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
because a riot, it gives the connotation that like there was violence on both sides, and it wasn't like it was like a fair fight. It wasn't. You literally had a white mob with an airplane dropping bombs on Tulsa's Greenwood district. That actually happened. So my hope is obviously that people just remember to learn history and just don't be assholes. Don't try to use it for political or partisan gain. Now, one of the Habibis, we were going to sign off on just that story, but because that's such a very serious and dark story, we'll go with something a little less dark and serious, and that is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, and her tweeting this out. Just over a week ago, my abuela fell ill. I went to Puerto Rico to see her. My first time in the year because of COVID. This is her home. Hurricane Maria relief hasn't arrived. Trump blocked relief money from Puerto Rico. People are being forced to flee ancestral homes, and developers are taking them. Now look at the conditions of this. It's fucking awful.
It is.
Yeah, it's terrible. Now, Jay, the story doesn't really end there because you and I both know that AOC is not really living in abject poverty now, is she? There was a report only within the last week that she actually bought a Tesla, which isn't a cheap car.
No.
What is it, a Model S, like a $60,000 car?
Right.
Maybe 80,000?
Depending on the features you're given.
I mean, maybe she's not spending that much money up front. Maybe she's paying a lease. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's not even her car. Maybe it is a company car, meaning the taxpayer.
Or it's the white guy's car that he is totally cucked with AOC.
So, I just gotta say, I mean, what's interesting is that AOC it's not like she's not making money. She definitely is. She got on Twitch and then I think made Twitch partner in one night or something like that. She got the most subs and most viewers in one night on Twitch. She has to be getting money from Amazon, which is probably why she hasn't said much about Amazon since, because Twitch is owned by Amazon. Right. Now, I don't like to tell people what to do with their money. This is America. You're free to do what you want. But if you're pinning the blame solely on the government for not fixing this situation, sometimes you got to take matters into your own hands, right, Jay?
Oh, absolutely. There's no law stating that she couldn't go over there and help her grandmother. If she's living in the way that she was, why not bring her over here? Why not put her up in your apartment? Why not let her drive around in your Tesla?
It's not like she has to worry about immigration papers. I know there's some people who still think that Puerto Rico is a separate country. It's not. It's part of the United States.
They can come over here and as easy. It's so easy for her to come over here. It just makes zero sense. And she wanted to blame Trump, and then she started talking about how the governor who was appointed by Obama was also very corrupt and stuff. And the reason why Trump.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say the reason why Trump stopped the relief fund is because of the corruption that was happening within Puerto Rico itself, that we also saw come out over the course of the fucking year.
They literally got a governor to resign.
Right.
They protested to get a governor to resign. It worked. That is the only time I've seen protesting work in terms of getting any outcome, which is crazy. And I just have to point out here that it was the corruption in Puerto Rico that got the relief to stall the way it did. It's not like the federal government didn't send aid. It did. It's what happened on the ground once they basically handed over all that aid. You had how many thousands of bottles of water sitting on the tarmac getting spoiled and toxic because the sun's radiation was beaming on the plastic bottle and basically making the water undrinkable. Mm-hmm. That was reported shortly after, maybe several months after Hurricane Maria. There's some things you can pin on the federal government. That was not it. Look, if her house is in shambles from Hurricane Maria, I don't know how much you can pin on the federal government. I don't know how much you can pin on Trump for that. It's like AOC expects Trump to literally come into her abuela's house and like basically fix all that shit himself. Like that's not how it works. I get it. The buck stops with him, but like this is just something that it seems like it's part of her MO. It's the drama. It's the it's the bait trying to get people to react to her and be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that your abuela went through that. Here's some money. Here's a donation. I'm gonna buy your Tax the Rich shirt. So
right. That's $70.
That's
It's fucking insane. And she just wants to blame somebody else for not doing anything herself about it. It's when stuff like that is happening, put it in your own hands. Nobody's stopping you from like helping your grandmother out and bring her here and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I tweeted it out that like she literally doesn't do anything for her grandmother in years, but then she has to blame Trump about it. Like, it makes zero sense.
Look, if that happened to my grandma, I would try to get a bigger place just to have her live with me. And I know she'd probably say no, like I'm an independent woman. Like, yeah, I get that, but you're coming to live with me, grandma. Fuck out of here with that nonsense.
Right.
That's just
luckily all my grandmothers are dead.
I'm sorry, Jay. I don't mean to laugh at that. It was just like one of those things that just came out of left field. Oh my God. All right, Habibis. Before we get to our final segment, real quick, we got a Patreon shout out. We haven't done this since March, and we are actually going to highlight. We're scrolling names down below. I'm going to read them out. These are all the patrons, the Patreon Habibis. We got Silver Habibis. We got Daniel Northrop Smith, Phil Hayes, Tim Green, Anang Matal, Dan Always, and Carrie Battersby. Thank you so much for your support. Really appreciate it. Then we have our Gold Habibis. Our Gold Habibis, Courtney Odell, John Heavey, Scott Raymond, Melissa Moore. Thank you so much for your support. Our Platinum Habibis. We got Damon Toll, Carl Ferris, Kenny Hughes, and the publication Axios. Thank you, and Axios, for
shout out to Damien Toll and Carl and Kenny for upgrading themselves to Platinum Habibis as well.
And for our Demigod Habibis. Now these they upgraded quite quickly. We have Stacy Minnis, Anthony Rivera, Connor Wetzel. And Jeremy Redford. Thank you all so much for your support. Really appreciate it. The only way we're able to continue doing what we're doing is from support from people like you. I certainly would be broke as a joke if it were not for you, and we hope to continue to keep this thing going. Jay, this is our 68th episode, and it's really it's about to get very nice next week.
Yes, it is. It is, because I'm going to be flying out there hopefully on Friday.
Go.
If they let me back on a plane. So we'll find out.
Let's go.
Let's do this. And we're planning on having a Habibi happy hour on Friday. That Friday the 11th.
Friday, June 11th. So
any Habibis interested, make sure you get onto our Patreon, because we're going to, I mean, not our Patreon, sorry, on our Discord server. I'm a little drunk. On our Discord server. And we're gonna post more details over there as well.
Yes.
But it's not good to mix alcohol in a vaccine. It's not good.
No, it's not. But it's okay. Anyways, we're gonna get off to our final segment before we sign off, and that is Ask Us Anything. So Habibis, go ahead, send us your questions, and let us know if there is anything we can answer for you guys. Faye says, what if I'm not on Discord?
Oh, well, Faye, we'll email you.
Yeah, we'll send Carrier Pigeon.
Do we have your email? Carrier Pigeon. I don't know. Wait, Faye, are you on Patreon? I mean,
she's on her Patreon. She's a silver Habibi.
Oh, perfect. Then we'll be able to email you. Yeah. Because we'll post it. We'll post it on our Patreon as well as a post stating where it's going to be, what time in DC, and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So Daniel Collins says, can you send me the Patreon link? The Patreon link is actually in the description of our YouTube video below, if you check it out. Oh, whoa, Faye is a gold Habibi. Wow. You bastards.
God damn it, I should have worn pink.
Oh, damn it. Billy Finn asks, why are you gay?
Why are you gay? I am not gay.
Why are you gay?
You are gay.
You are gay. Sean, aka Drodman, Siraj, what do you think Conte being a top manager for Spurs? What? I haven't been following Spurs because they're shit. I hate them.
But if they get Conte, that's a pretty good get.
Yeah. Bike practices, why is the AF was I left out of the shout out list? Jesus fucking Christ. BP.
Because
we got you the last time. But I guess because we're highlighting this right now, bike practicer, actually, for those who are not aware, he is the original demigod Habibi. He's the reason why we made that tier. He is the reason why we made a demigod Habibi tier. And the last time we gave you a shout out March 17th. That's episode 53. So BP, go back to the episode. If we didn't give you a shout out, I apologize. But if I didn't, go fuck yourself.
No, we love you, BP. You're great. Also, yeah. I'm drinking the old tub. It's actually really good, and for the price point, delicious. Not bad at all. It's really
very
good.
Nice indeed. Being the Nate BB says, why didn't you give me, Faye, and Mitch a shout out, and also my earn postcard? Nate, I'm pretty sure we gave you. We gave you fucking shout out. God damn it, Nate.
How far behind are we on this stuff?
Yeah, we really are far behind. President Mitch says, wait, what day is Habibi Happy Hour? It's going to be Friday, June 11th. We're going to do it in the evening. Now, I understand that some of you observe Shabbat. If you do, please let us know so that we could also do something potentially on Thursday.
Yes.
So it might be a little bit more intimate on Thursday, but we'll make sure we hang out. Okay. James says, is there any point to coming if you're under 21? I don't know because I haven't been 21 in a long time.
I know I haven't either, but you can come. I mean, it's totally fine. You just can't.
Yeah, I mean, just order a seltzer.
Yeah, there you go. Or
I'm not going to go to. I'm not going to go to. I'm not going to go to prison. I'm not going to go to prison to order you alcohol.
I will.
Jay's going to go to get more for you. Abe says, "Does Brooklyn Dad sponsors you?" I knew you were a dem plant. And by Brooklyn Dad, do you mean Damon? Damon Toll? Because he is a dem plant and a Brooklyn Dad. That's right. Go fuck yourself, Damon.
Yeah, damn.
Bart the Tree Guy says, are Jay and Siraj going to be on stream tonight? We're literally streaming right now.
I am, but we're not. And I'm also going to pass out right after this. I mean, after getting the second shot, I'm surprised I'm still up right now.
And I thought about video game streaming after this, and then I realized that my internet is from Pakistan, so it's basically no point.
Honestly, it's been the best it's ever been.
Yeah, Mark says, I got pissed at Twitter after the election. Should I rejoin? Hey, man, I'll never tell you what to do because it's a free country, but you should get back on Twitter. You fucking pussy.
Do it. Do it.
No, Cal Nat says, what if I'm stuck in Jay's messed up state?
That's messed up.
That's
California, NorCal. It's NorCal, like NorCal.
Oh NorCal shit! Jan is coming in with the. I'm so sorry, Jess. I'm still waiting for my earned postcards. This is something. This is something I tried to get done in January or in February, and then everything just went to shit. Oh my god!
It went to shit means he's only getting up at 2 p.m. That's what it means by it went to shit.
I really need to work on that. I'm so bad at this stuff. I really need to just like get Spencer and Ben to just order these for like
Right.
hold a gun, like a
do it
whole
all.
country that order these things and get them done. Big Rage says, Jay, will you be putting a bag of poop on AOC's front doorstep while you're in DC as well? Why would it be in a bag?
Absolutely.
That could be there?
It's not going to be in a bag. It's going to be right there in all shininess.
Mm.
My poops are pretty shiny.
Yeah, they are. Daniel Collins says, why do the Celtics suck? I don't know.
Well, they didn't do bad as the fucking
Heat.
Lakers.
No, well, the Lakers won 2 games. The Celtics won 1 in their playoff series. And the Lakers also aren't done. They could still win their series if they win the next 2 games. But meanwhile, the Celtics are just out. Turtleneck 420 nice says, Mujahed, you are mean. I couldn't get Omar to beat the frick out of you. So next time I come to Cali, I'll bear you up. As soon as beat you up, I feel like that's your cousin or nephew.
No, that's my little brother. Like he's under 13 or 14 years
Why
old.
is he here?
Well, because he is totally online, dude. I had to ban him off of our Discord because he's under 18. It didn't bring me. It brought me pain.
There's one thing. There's only one.
It brought me pain.
There's only one thing, Andrew Maloney brings up this. Why is criticizing the CCP racist to Chinese people, but criticizing Israel not all racist to Jewish people? How do we get here? This is something I just remembered. I was going to make this point earlier when we were talking about the Tulsa Race Massacre. We saw the Tulsa Race Massacre came to our front, our nation's consciousness because of media, because of HBO's Watchmen. People watched it. They did their due diligence in reading up on the Tulsa Race Massacre and learned more about it. What we ended up have happening, and this could be stemmed from the John Cena thing that happened last week, and sort of how Disney, thanked a bunch of entities in China for filming the live action movie of Mulan there. This is why it's so important to not have entities beholden to things like the CCP. It's because when you're not able to even create film or media that it can tell every story and not just some select stories, you're blocking out a portion of information that the public needs to know. And so what we're seeing with, say, like the Chinese Communist Party and how brutal and authoritarian they are, and how they've imprisoned a million plus Uyghur Muslims, how they're oppressive to the people of Hong Kong, how they've been oppressive to their own citizens, how they've been oppressive to people in Tibet. Like, you're just not going to have any entity within the United States, any global corporation, being critical of them because of how much money they bring in. And so, I actually don't think I've seen many people say it's racist to criticize the CCP. I have seen more people say that it is anti-Semitic. I've seen more people than not say it's anti-Semitic when they're criticizing Israel because they're making specifically anti-Semitic statements. Like, say, for example, Noam Bloom, who we had on the show a week or two ago, was actually very critical of Israel, but he was critical as someone who was actually a very pro-Israeli Jew. And I feel like when you listen to someone giving that level of critique, people can learn what exactly it is that is well within the confines of being acceptable critique. Because every time someone makes a critique of Israel, they always turn it into something that's blatantly anti-Semitic. They say, just like we were talking about the Google's head of diversity, saying the Jews have an insatiable taste or thirst for war. Like, you can't fucking say that. Like, you're just generalizing all Jews, and it every single criticism you make afterwards is invalid because you made that initial anti-Semitic remark. Why should I trust you on anything that has to do with this particular subject if you're going to go directly into hateful rhetoric, anti-Semitic rhetoric, blood libel, you name it? Like, that's not how the real world works. And people constantly twist and move the goalposts when it comes to criticism of Israel to say, oh no, What I'm saying isn't anti-Semitic. You can't say that.
I'm just being critical of Israel.
Yeah, exactly. So, let's see. Is gay Muslim haram? Asked Red Pill.
Depends on what country you're in.
Yeah.
I like how you're just like, and then you went to the next one.
Dio asks, are you guys on Cameo? No.
What is Cameo?
Not really. Don't think
Cameo?
I'll go anytime soon. Wow, we've been going for 2 hours. Wow, it's already midnight. Hold on. Fuzzy was here. Where was Fuzzy? Fuzzy had a question. But Zem SYT says seen a ton of that Chinese socials, but I guess that's mostly over there. Jay, if you see it, just click on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at flights for next week to get the white blessing. Get it. Let's go. Damon says Siraj will be writing out thank you cards for his second marriage before he does the earned postcards. Oh my god.
That was the longest time.
That was so bad. God.
It was.
We're still not done.
And my mom my mom's gonna be there on Friday. I was going to say she's going to be there on Friday.
Yes. Oh, yes. Let's go. Now, I would invite Bubba, but if I did, I can't drink. So
that's not fun.
You'll have to meet Bubba another time. Fuzzy says, question for Jay. With the amount of alcohol you drink, you take a surprisingly few amount of bathroom breaks. Being that you pee sitting down, are you currently sitting on and using a squatty potty?
I am. I'm using the one from what is that red puppet's name from Sesame Street?
Elmo.
The red puppet, Elmo. Yeah, Elmo one where he's like, and he's pooping on the thing. That's me right now, right on your mother's chest, Fuzzy. That's me right now on your mother's chest, just pooping right on it.
And me going skiing.
That's you skiing.
Let's see. Robert Zephyr says, I quit Twitter for 3 years after Trump was elected. It's been pretty sucky not having my old follower count. Sorry to hear that, Robert. We'll get you back to where you
Don't
are.
worry. I mean, it's happened to me 13 different times.
Inshallah. Sham says, when are you streaming with Smog? Inshallah soon. We'll try to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else.
Inshallah.
Mark asks, can y'all not grow beards longer than 2 inches? We only grow beards as long as our dicks.
Right. So it's 2 inches, and that what tickles your mom's pussy. So that's all good for us.
Oh my god. I feel like everyone's fading really quickly.
Yes. I gotta go.
President says, will GameStop hit 420? Inshallah. I hope so.
Inshallah.
I really hope so. Tim Reese says, did you see Saka score for England today? I did not because I'm busy prepping for the show. So maybe I'll go catch that afterwards. Eric Halverson says, Siraj, you should smoke cigars with Glenn from the Cigar Obsession channel. I think he lives in the Tampa area. Oh, I'll go check it out. Let's see. You got anything else? Khalid says, take Jay to Zaytuna with some of that money you're saving on the internet. Inshallah. Oh my God. Damon says Siraj has 2 beards. One is a lawyer. Oh shit. John Smith says, Siraj play football. What position? I started off as a tight end and then ended off as a wide receiver. Wink. Shivan asked Siraj thoughts on Brad Stevens getting promoted to president of basketball operations. I like the move. The reason I like the move is because ever since Danny Ainge traded Isaiah Thomas to Cleveland for Kyrie Irving, it's been downhill for the C's ever since. The entire reputation of the Celtics has been they have no loyalty to their players, and that starts with Danny Ainge. So people like Anthony Davis don't go to places like Boston because they don't want to be treated like basically just business entities or business pieces. So I'm hopeful that the move will be good for the organization as a whole. We Danny Ainge needed to go. I'm glad he's retiring. Brad Stevens moving up to president of basketball operations. I hope it's a good move. Daniel. Oh, whoa, what?
Oh, sorry. I was clicking on one right with you. And Daniel Collins, you just subbed. Like, you just subbed just now. Thank you so much for your gold Habibi subs. And go ahead and message us your Twitter handle, your IG handle, and also what you are on the Discord as well, because we got a special Discord.
We got a special Discord chat. For you. Faye asks Siraj, would you consider an Allah tier on Patreon? We would sign up.
Why not? 669.69.
69.69.
That's a lot. 69.69 is.
I feel like we should just create it. It would just be the nice Habibi. I don't think I could name it Allah tier because it's blasphemous. It's, I'll definitely get stoned.
Yes, I gotta piss so fucking bad.
Okay, so we're gonna end it right there. Habibis, y'all been great. We love you. Again, that was we got our 69th episode next week. Very excited about it. We'll keep you posted on all the details. We're gonna prep for it. No episode this coming weekend because 69th is gonna be next Wednesday. So Habibis, thank you all so much for joining us for the Habibi Bros. I'm Siraj Hashmi.
I'm Jay Kobbe.
And we're the Habibi Bros. Thank you for joining us for another Habibi Power Hour. Peace. Ma salama.
Ma salama.